Hello and welcome. My name is Alex and I'm here with Epic Fitness. I'll be guiding you through an at-home yoga practice today. So we'll start off laying down in Shavasana. So go ahead and lay down, extend the legs straight out in front. Lay the arms beside you and slide the shoulder blades together, creating an altar for your heart. Allow your eyes to close. Start to move your awareness inward. Notice the body. Notice the breath. Start to let all other thoughts, worries, and tensions to melt away. Start to slow down the breath, finding our 3-part inhales and exhales. Inhale, fill up the low belly, the ribs, and the chest. Exhale, release the chest, the ribs, the low belly. Inhale, belly, ribs and chest, and exhale, chest, ribs, low belly. And just continue with this breath. Every inhale filling up from bottom to top, every exhale letting go top to bottom. Take it at your own pace as you slowly start to deepen every inhale and every exhale. Just let the breath effortlessly flow in and out like the waves of the ocean. If the mind starts to wander off, simply bring your full awareness back into the present moment, letting all other thoughts drift away. As you breathe, start to become more aware of your body. Take a little scan of the body from the toes up to the crown of the head. Notice if there are any areas of holding, any areas of tension, and start to send your breath into those areas that might feel tight, tense, or disconnected. Every exhale, allow the whole body to soften a little bit more. Feel yourself shifting from thinking and doing to feeling and being. Dropping in to a silent spaciousness of being. Take 3 more full breaths here. Allow these to be the longest and deepest breaths you've taken yet today. Staying fully present with each slow inhale and each complete exhale. Now slowly start to bring movement to fingers and toes, You might start to roll out the wrists and the ankles. And then taking a deep inhale as you reach the arms up overhead. Getting a nice full body stretch from toes to fingertips. And then exhale, hugging the knees into the chest. Start to rock a little bit, side to side, kind of massaging the low back. And then placing the hands on the knees, start to make big circles with the knees. So hugging the knees in, and then bringing them apart, away from you, knees together, and then back into the chest. And just take that a few rounds on your own, following your breath. You might take any organic movements with the knees that might feel good. The next time the knees come together, just start to take the circles in opposite direction. So knees come together, they move away from you, pull the knees apart, and then back to the chest as they come together. And just take that a few rounds, kind of opening up the hips gently, allowing the breath to guide you. And then bringing knees back to center, we'll next make our way into happy baby pose. So keeping a bend in the knees, just reach for outer edges of the feet. The knees can kind of come out to the side toward the armpits. Bottoms of the feet are pointing up towards the ceiling. You might find some organic movement here. You might rock side to side, maybe bend and straighten into one or both legs. Slow down your breath. Every inhale fills up the inner thighs, maybe breathing into the hamstrings, the calves. And every exhale allows any tension to melt away, softening and letting go. And now bringing the hands under the knees. Just rock up and down the length of the spine a few times until you come up to a comfortable seat. Go ahead and keep the legs extended straight out in front, grounding down in your sit bones and flexing the feet so the toes point towards the face. Take an inhale as you sweep the arms up overhead. And then follow your exhale as you fold forward, hinging at the waist. The hands don't have to reach for the toes. They can just fall, maybe rest on the shins, the mat, wherever is comfortable. And just start to close the eyes and tune into your body. Don't worry about how far the nose is to the knees, and just start to focus on your breath. So every inhale fills up, breathing into the hamstrings. Every exhale, letting go, softening belly, back, and shoulders. Letting the head hang heavy and softening the jaw. Take 2 more full breaths here. And then slowly inhale as you roll back up to a long spine. You can shake out the legs a little bit here. And then plant the hands behind you on your mat. Just squeeze the shoulder blades together. You might let the head lay back if it's comfortable for the neck. Just take a deep breath in, filling up the heart space. And deep exhale out the mouth, letting go. Inhale as you rise back up to center, finding a long spine. And then go ahead and cross the legs, finding Sukhasana, easy pose. Sitting up nice and tall, letting the shoulders soften down away from the ears. Let's take a deep breath in as we sweep the arms out and up overhead. And then follow your exhale as you twist to the left. So left hand will plant down behind you on your mat, and the right hand will come to the left knee. Take a full breath in as you lengthen the spine, lifting up through the crown of the head. And then exhale, twist a little deeper, gazing over your left shoulder. Inhale to unwind, sweeping the arms up overhead. And then exhale, twisting to the right. Right hand plants behind you, left hand to right knee. Full breath in, lifting up through the crown of the head. And exhale, twisting a little bit deeper. Inhale, back to center, sweeping the arms up. And exhale, the palms meet at heart center. Close the eyes for a moment. Take 3 full breaths here with the eyes closed and just find your center. Release any thoughts that may be present. Notice any sensations, feelings, emotions that are showing up for you today. And start to slow down your breath, calming the nervous system. And exhale, open the eyes. And just roll forward now, planting the hands and knees, coming into tabletop. Lining up the wrists right under the shoulders, knees right under the hips. We'll start off with a couple cat-cows here to warm up the spine. We inhale, dropping the belly, lifting the heart and tailbone, gazing forward. Exhale to round and curl. Bring chin to chest and tuck the tailbone under. Inhale, heart sweeps through, broadening through the collarbones, lifting the tailbone. Exhale, round and curl, opening up through the shoulder blades, bringing chin to chest. Then just continue at your own pace, taking a few more rounds. Option here to close the eyes. Move your awareness inward. This will allow you to feel the body a little more deeply. Notice what's going on inside. As you slow down the breath, allow the body and the movements to slow down as well. Maybe you invite in some organic movements, moving the hips, the belly, the shoulders around in any way that feels good. Throughout our practice today, I will ask that you listen to your body. Never go past your edge. Deep sensations are okay, but any sharp or twingy pain is not okay. So modify if you need to during any of the postures, and take it at your own pace. Finishing up your last round of cat-cow, return to a neutral spine tabletop. Next, we'll move into puppy pose. So keeping the hips lined directly over the knees, we'll start to walk the hands forward. The chest will come down towards the mat, You can either rest the forehead on the mat, or if you want a deeper back bend here, you can rest the chin on the mat. Another option is that you can come onto like spider fingers, so lifting the palms up and lifting the forearms up as well. This will kind of deepen that sensation of the back bend. So as you breathe here, we'll take about 3 full breaths. Every exhale, let the chest melt down deeper towards the mat. Every inhale, breathing into the heart space, opening up the chest. We will be focusing on back bends today, so heart opening, creating space for self-love, releasing any judgments, fears, or blocks that are holding you back from really loving your true inner self. Last breath here. Take a deep breath in, and then exhale as you start to walk the hands over to the right. And just walk them over until you feel a side stretch along the left side body. So feeling length from that left hip crease all the way to the left fingertips. You might even stack one hand on top of the other. Sometimes I like to interlace the fingers here. And you can do this from kind of a child's pose shape if you'd like, bringing hips to heels. But I find that I get a better side body stretch with the hips high. So whatever works for your body. Now go ahead and inhale, walk the hands to center. And then exhale, hands walk to the left. Just until you feel a side body stretch on the right. And just close the eyes and take a few breaths here. Really feeling that length. Breathing into it. Every exhale, letting go. Inhale, walking the hands back to center. And then walk the hands back, coming into a neutral tabletop. Curl the toes under, and then we'll exhale to come into our first downward facing dog. We'll take a moment here, bending and straightening into one leg and then the other. Feeling the length in the calves and the hamstrings. Always an option to bend the knees here. I want to keep the spine nice and long, so really pressing the hips up and back, melting the chest toward the thighs, and just letting the head hang heavy. Now inhale, gaze up to the hands. Exhale to slowly walk to the top of the mat, coming into a forward fold. And start to heel toe the feet out to about mat width distance apart. Keeping the toes facing forward for now. Just let the torso hang heavy. We'll be here for a couple breaths. Always an option to take a bend in the knees. Maybe you grab opposite elbows and sway a little side to side. Sending your breath into the hamstrings. Every exhale, letting go even more. Last full breath here.
It's
And then inhale to rise, sweeping the arms up overhead. Maybe you let the head lay back a little. Maybe you take a little back bend. And then coming to center, we'll exhale as we slide the right hand down the right leg, reach the left arm up and over for a side body stretch. Take one deep breath here. You might find a little more depth with your exhale. And then inhale, rise back to center, reaching the right arm high. Exhale, left hand slides down the left leg. Right arm leans up and over to the left. Feeling that length on the right side body, breathe into it. Exhale takes you a little deeper. And then inhale back to center. Exhale, cactus the arms. Take a little back bend as you lift your heart. Let your head lay back and squeeze the shoulder blades together. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. And then exhale, we'll interlace the fingers behind the low back. Inhale to lift your heart, and exhale to forward fold with your bind. We'll pause here for a few breaths. You can always take a bend in the knees. Let the head hang heavy. So just starting to let the crown of the head melt down towards the mat, and the hands might float off the low back to stretch out the shoulders. Notice if the shoulders are rounding forward. See if you can peel the shoulders back, opening up through the center of the chest. One more breath here. Then gently release the hands, letting go of your bind, bringing the hands down. And then bend the knees as you turn the toes to point out, heels turn in, coming into a yogi squat. We'll find a little organic movement here. You might bend and kind of move the hips side to side. You might plant one hand down and take a twist, and then switch sides. Anything that feels good here. Take one more full breath. And then go ahead and inhale as you straighten the legs, the toes face forward. Just start to heel toe the feet about hip distance apart, so bringing the feet a little closer together here. And then we'll step the left leg back, finding a runner's lunge. We'll make our way into lizard pose. So the right foot will start to wiggle out over to the right side of the mat. Option to bring your left knee down. You might release the tops of the toes onto the mat. And then we'll bring both hands on the inside of your right foot. And you might even come down onto the forearms. If you have blocks, you can put the forearms on top of blocks as well if you want to bring the earth up to you. This is a deep hip opener here. A few options. You might just pause and breathe, slowing down the breath. You might rock the hips a little bit from side to side, finding any tight spots and just pausing and breathing into it. Another option is to let the right knee fall out to the right side. This is the crooked monkey version. And last breath here. And then we'll come back to our lunge, keeping the left knee down for now. We'll wiggle the right foot back to center, so the right hand will come outside the right foot, and then we'll straighten into the right leg, bringing the hips back for our half splits. So a few options here. You can sit back on your left heel if you'd like. We're going to start to fold and bring the nose toward the right knee. Now the nose doesn't have to touch the knee. As long as you feel a stretch along the right hamstring, then you're doing it right. Slow down your breath and just relax the upper body. So let the shoulders soften, relax the belly, and relax the jaw. Take one more full breath here. And then we'll make our way back to a runner's lunge. So bending that right knee once again. We'll curl the left toes under, lifting the knee, and then planting the left hand down under the left shoulder. And then exhale, the right arm will sweep high, coming into a rotated lunge, finding that twist. As you stack the shoulders, opening the heart. Take a deep inhale to lengthen through your spine, and then exhale, twist a little bit deeper. Inhale as you unwind, right hand comes back down. And then we'll start to walk the hands over to the left, coming into a wide-legged fold toward the long edge of the mat. So the toes will turn to face the long edge of the mat. Make sure that the outer edges of the feet are parallel here. We'll take a few deep breaths, just hanging heavy. You might find a little organic movement here. You can rock hips a little side to side. You can move the torso around. Maybe move the hands around, walking the hands to one foot and then the other. And now starting to take a bend in your left knee as we come down into Skandasana or flying monkey. So the right toes can lift. There are a few options here. You might bring the palms to meet in front of the heart. You might bring the hands down to the mat, kind of resting on the forearms. This will deepen that inner thigh stretch on the right side. Another option is to kind of press that left knee out to the left with your left elbow. And start to slow down the breath, really inhaling, opening up the inner thighs. Exhaling, letting go of tension. Let's take 2 full breaths here. And then we'll go ahead and switch sides, bending into the right knee. Left toes can lift. And just match any variation that you took on the first side. Close the eyes if you feel steady. Focus on your breath. Slow it down. Take 2 more breaths here. And make your way now back into your wide-legged fold. So 2 straight legs, hanging heavy. And then start to walk the hands over to the back of the mat. So hands will walk over to the left foot now. So runner's lunge toward the back. We'll come into lizard pose on the second side. So the left foot will wiggle over to the left side of the mat. Hands can come on the inside of that left leg. Mirror anything that you took on the first side. So you might come down to the forearms. You might bring blocks underneath you. You might bring that right knee down to the mat this time. You can release the right toes if you'd like. And then just slow down the breath. Option to rock hips side to side. Just feeling any sensations in the body. Allowing any tension to melt away. Taking one more full breath here. And then coming back into your lunge. So left foot will come back to center. Keep the right knee down, and then we'll straighten into the left leg for a half split. So we start to fold forward, bringing nose toward the knee. It doesn't have to touch. Maybe you come back and sit on your right heel just as an option. Close the eyes for a few full breaths. Every inhale, lengthening through the spine a little bit. Every exhale, relaxing the upper body to hang heavy. No need to force your way down. Just feeling the stretch, feeling the sensations. Take one more full breath here. And then we'll come back into our runner's lunge. So taking a bend in your left knee, curl the right toes under, lift the right knee, and then planting the right hand down under the shoulder. Exhale the left arm high, taking your twist as you stack the shoulders. Maybe you gaze up towards your left hand. Full breath in, finding length in your spine. And your exhale might twist you a little bit deeper without forcing. Inhale to unwind. Left hand comes back down. Plant the hands on both sides of that left foot and then step back to plank. Always an option to drop the knees first if you need to. Exhale, lower all the way down to your belly. You want to hug the elbows in towards the sides here as you come down. We'll take a few different back bends here. So we'll inhale to a low cobra. I like to slide the hands back a few inches so they're next to the ribs. Hug the elbows into your sides and release the tops of the toes onto the mat. So as you press into the tops of the feet, you'll inhale, lift the heart up, and we're not pressing into the hands here. So we're using the strength of the upper back to lift the chest up. Keep the head in line with the spine. Take a deep breath in, filling up your heart. You might lift up a little higher. And then slow exhale, release, coming all the way down. Take one deep breath here. And And then for this next round, we'll come into Sphinx pose. So we inhale to lift the heart. This time we line up the elbows directly under the shoulders as you lift up through the heart, broadening through the collarbones. Take just one full breath here, opening up the chest. And then slow exhale as you release all the way down to your mat. One breath. Then for our final round of this backbend series, we'll come into seal pose. So if this ends up being a little too intense of a backbend for you, you can always just do cobra or sphinx, whichever you prefer for this final round. If you'd like to come into seal pose, we bring the toes, I like to slide the legs a little wider, so toes come to about mat width apart. And then the hands come a little wider than the shoulders. And then you press into the hands, lift the heart. So kind of straightening all the way through the arms if you can. You may need to walk the hands forward a little bit. And then if this feels a little too intense, if you feel any pinching in the low back, then back off a little bit or just release and come to a more gentle version. Let's take 3 breaths here. So full deep inhales, filling up the heart. And full exhales, letting go, softening the shoulders down and back. You might close the eyes here. Notice what you feel in the body. And then exhale, slowly release all the way down to your mat. So slide the hands underneath the shoulders and just take a breath here before we press up and back, and just take a moment. Notice any release. Notice any sensations coming up from that back bend. Take a deep breath. And then we'll go ahead and press up to a down dog. So curling the toes under. There are a few options here. You can either keep the knees down, press up through tabletop, and then go to down dog. Or you can press up like a push-up and then lift the hips up and back. Down dog. So take a moment here, maybe bending, straightening one leg and then the other. Deep breath in through the nose and open mouth exhale, letting go tension. And now we'll inhale, gaze up to the hands, and exhale to step or hop the feet up to the top of the mat, coming into a forward fold, Uttanasana, hanging heavy. Relax the weight of the head. Slow down your breath. Now let's inhale, gaze up as we rise up, sweeping the arms out and up overhead. Reaching up high, and then exhale, the palms meet at heart center. Close the eyes for a moment. Bring your awareness inward. Feel the body, feel the breath, grounding down in the feet, and lifting up through the crown of the head. Allow your shoulders to relax down and back away from the ears. Notice how it feels to be fully present in this moment, here and now. Release any thoughts drifting through your mind. Now inhale, reach the arms out and up. This time we find steeple grip. So interlacing the fingers, release the pointer and the thumbs. Exhale, leaning to the right for standing half moon. So shoulders stay squared towards the front of the room. feeling length all along the left side body. Let the shoulders relax away from the ears as you squeeze the biceps in closer towards the ears. Feeling length from the left heel all the way to the pointer fingers. Let's take a breath in, reaching, and then exhale, sink a little bit deeper. Inhale back to center, and then exhale, taking it to the left. Feeling length along the right side body, keeping the shoulders soft, and squeezing biceps toward the ears. Inhale for length. Exhale for depth, sinking a little bit deeper. Inhale back to center. And then go ahead and release that bind. Bring the hands to your lower back. So fingertips are facing down, palms are facing towards you. And we'll squeeze the elbows towards each other behind you. So kind of creating length through the front of the heart. Take an inhale as you lift up through the crown of the head. And then exhale, take a little back bend here. So squeezing shoulder blades together, let the head lay back. Take a full breath in. And then exhale, sink a little deeper into your back bend. And then inhale back up to center. Release the hands down by your sides. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. And then exhale for a forward fold, hinging at the waist, hanging heavy. Go ahead and step your left leg back. Bring your left knee down to the mat this time. And then inhale as you rise up, so torso and arms reach up overhead. As you exhale, cactus the arms. Take a little back bend. Lift your heart. Maybe the head lays back. Inhale, reach back up. And then exhale for a side stretch. Bring your right hand to the right hip or to the mat if you have the space. Left arm reaches up and over. You start to feel a side body stretch along the left. And you might also feel a stretch along the left hip flexor here. Inhale back to center, reach the arms up. And then exhale to your half splits so the hands can come down. Straighten out the right leg as you fold. Bringing nose towards the knee. It doesn't have to touch. Take a few breaths here. Allowing that right hamstring to soften and relax with every breath. And now inhale, bend your right knee. And then reach back for your left foot. So you can reach back with either hand. See if you can grab a hold of the ankle or the foot. And you should start to feel a quad stretch here. You can play around with the movement of the hips here, the placement of the hips. You can press the hips forward and back. It might deepen that stretch. So find a spot that feels good for you and start to breathe there. And then gently release that foot. Come back to your runner's lunge, back toes curl under, lift the knee. And then walk it over to a wide-legged fold towards the long edge of the mat once again. So toes turn to face the long edge of the mat, bringing outer edges of the feet parallel. Let the torso hang heavy for a moment. Full breath in and full breath out. Now inhale to rise up. So coming all the way up to standing, you can place the hands on the hips here and engage the core as you come up with a flat back. We'll set up for goddess pose here. So turning the toes to point out towards the corners of the mat, heels turn in. We'll inhale, reach the arms up overhead, and then exhale, take a bend in the knees, bring the palms to meet at heart center. We'll take this a few rounds following the breath. So we inhale, arms sweep up, straightening the legs, reaching high. Exhale, bend the knees, sink the hips, palms meet. Follow your breath and take this a few rounds on your own. If you feel stable, you might close the eyes and move your awareness inward. Take one more round. And then the next time you come down, place the hands on top of your thighs. And then exhale, press your left shoulder towards your right knee, kind of twisting the torso. Keep your left arm straight if you can, and you should feel a stretch along the shoulder blades. Inhale to come to center, exhale right shoulder to left knee. And then take this a few rounds on your own. You might move one breath per movement. You might slow it down and take a few breaths on each side. Do what feels good for your body. Now starting to even yourself out from side to side. And then coming back to center as you straighten the legs and turn the toes to face forward. So coming all the way up to standing. And then we'll adjust the feet here. So toes turn back towards the top of the mat, the long edge of the mat. So outer edges of the feet parallel, setting up for our wide-legged fold. We'll interlace the hands behind the back this time. Take a deep breath in as you press the knuckles down to the earth. You open the heart. The head might lay back. And then exhale to forward fold with your bind. Take a few breaths in your wide-legged fold, hanging heavy. And then gently release the hands down to the mat. And start to walk the hands over to the left foot. So coming to a runner's lunge, back to the front of the mat, so back where you originally started your practice. This time the right knee comes down. We inhale to rise up, lifting the torso, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, taking a back bend, cactusing the arms, lifting the heart. Inhale, reach up high. And exhale to your side stretch, left hand to the hip or the mat. Right arm reaches up and over. Inhale, back to center. And then exhale to your half splits, straightening your left leg and folding forward. Taking a deep breath here. And then inhale, bending the left leg. This time we reach back for the right foot, finding that quad stretch. Maybe you move the hips forward and back a little bit until you find that perfect spot where you feel a nice sensation. Breathe into it. Let go of any holdings, any tension. Then go ahead and come back to your runner's lunge. So releasing your foot, the hands plant, framing that left foot. And then we'll step back to plank. This time we'll exhale, lower down chaturanga. So you can always drop the knees if you need to. Otherwise, we exhale to lower halfway down. Inhale, sweeps the heart through. Coming to cobra or up dog. Always bring the tops of the toes on the mat for your back bend. And then exhale, lifting the hips up and back for down dog. Toes curl under, long spine. Now inhale back to your plank. Exhale, lower all the way down to your belly this time. We'll bring the hands behind the low back, interlace the hands. And then inhale to lift your heart. So make sure the tops of the toes are pressing into the mat here. Lifting the chest, pressing the knuckles straight back behind you. Take a full breath in, lifting up a little higher. And then slow exhale, release back down to the mat. Release your bind, lay a cheek down, close the eyes, and take a full breath here. And then for our next round of our back bends, we will come into bow pose. So bending the knees, bringing the heels toward the glutes, reach back for the ankles or the feet. Once you have a hold of them, make sure to keep your knees together. So try not to let the knees fall apart, really engaging the inner thighs. And then we'll inhale, kick the feet up into the hands, opening through the chest, arching the back. Maybe you gaze up towards the ceiling. Inhale, lift up a little higher. And then slow exhale, release, coming all the way down but to your mat. So laying the opposite cheek on the mat and just take a breath here, letting go. And start to make your way to a down dog. Once you get to down dog, drop the knees and come into child's pose. Hips to heels. Let the forehead rest on the mat. Take a full breath. And then we'll inhale as we come up all the way on the knees, lifting kind of the torso up. So setting up for camel pose. We're coming into a back bend next. So you can always curl the toes under here. This will bring the heels up a little higher, making it a little more accessible. But we'll start with a supported camel pose. So we'll place the hands on the lower back, so fingertips facing down, palms facing you. Take an inhale, so lifting up through the spine, lifting up through the crown of the head. And then as you exhale, we'll start to lean back. So squeezing shoulder blades together, lifting the heart. Keep pressing the hips forward. Now you can either stay here or you can play around reaching one hand up and back and then the other. And then the option here is to reach back for your heels. So you can bring your right hand to your right heel, left hand to left heel. And then if you want a little more, you can uncurl the toes. Take one deep breath here. And then gently coming out. So inhale, rising up to a long spine. And then just coming down back into your child's pose for 2 full breaths. So now we'll start to come back up onto the knees, and we'll make our way into frog pose next. So I recommend turning towards the long edge of your mat for this one. And there's always an option as well to use a big bolster or a pillow if you like. That will kind of bring the earth up to you and give you some support in this pose. So we'll start by walking the knees out to the sides here. And let the calf go straight back behind, so knee stays about a 90-degree bend. The feet point out to the sides, and just start to let the hips melt down towards the mat. So once you find that spot where you feel a nice sensation, you might grab your prop and place it underneath your belly, and then you can just let yourself go here. Relax the hips, relax the belly, soften the shoulders, and soften the jaw. Closing the eyes, slowing everything down, letting any thoughts drift away, just noticing anything that's showing up for you today. Keep your awareness centered in the present moment, so don't let the mind wander off. Be here now. And we'll stay in this pose for about 2 more minutes. Stay fully present with yourself. Keep slowing down the breath. Slowing down the mind. Letting go of tension. Be fully grounded and rooted in this moment. One more minute here. Soften your hips. Soften your jaw. And last full breath here. Now slowly start to make your way out of the shape. You can either walk the knees back to center, or you can remove your prop and roll forward onto your belly. And then when you're ready, make your way to a comfortable seat and just take a moment. Notice how the body feels. Notice the sensations in the inner thighs. Just feel what you've created for yourself in this short amount of time. Notice that stillness and peace from deep within. Now extending the legs straight out in front, grounding down in the sit bones and flexing the feet towards the face. Take an inhale as you sweep the arms up, and exhale, forward fold. Just 3 full breaths here. Hanging heavy, letting go. And then inhale, start to roll your spine back up, shake out the legs, and then plant the hands behind you on your mat, squeezing your shoulder blades together, lift your heart, take a little back bend here, full breath in, and open mouth, exhale. And then inhale, back to center. Exhale, slowly roll all the way down to your back. Take a bend in your knees, bringing the feet flat. So we're setting up for bridge pose. So heels are close to the glutes but not touching. And the feet are about hip distance apart. As you inhale, press into your heels, lift the hips high. Keep the inner thighs active, so not letting the knees fall out to the sides. Start to roll your shoulders underneath you, and option to interlace the hands behind you. Press the knuckles toward the heels as you lift through the center of the heart. Engage the glutes. Feel the strength in your quads. Maybe you even lift the heels here. Take one more full breath in. And then gently release your bind if you have it still. Exhale, slowly lower all the way down to your back, one vertebrae at a time. And then just let the knees rock side to side. We'll take this with the breath, so inhale, knees to center, exhale, knees fall to one side. Inhale to center, exhale to the other side. And just take that a few rounds on your own. If you want, you can add in the arms, grabbing opposite elbows, and let the arms just drop to the opposite direction as the knees. The gaze can follow the arms. Good. Take one more on each side. And then for our last pose before Shavasana, I'll be guiding you through a shoulder stand. This is optional. If you would not like to do this pose, you can do happy baby pose instead, or anything else that might feel good for you before Shavasana. So if you want to do a shoulder stand, we'll start to lift the hips and place the hands underneath or on your low back. And so if the elbows are way out wide, start to walk the elbows in line with the shoulders. And then as you lift the hips higher, start to walk the hands up towards the shoulder blades. Point the toes up towards the ceiling and keep breathing. It's important that you don't try to turn your head while you're in this pose. So if you need to, you can even watch me come into it and then do it after you see what I'm doing. So make sure to stay safe here. Keep breathing. Keep pressing the hips forward as you lift up. And then an option here is to come into plow pose. So if you'd like, you can let the kind of toes drop down towards the mat above you. You can always take a bend in the knees if you'd like. And then if you want, you can release the hands from your low back, but only do so once the toes touch the mat overhead. Another option here is to interlace the fingers. So straightening out the arms, bringing the hands together, interlacing, pressing the knuckles away from you. And then gently bringing the hands back to the low back if they're not already there. And then slowly rolling all the way down to the mat. You can bend the knees, you can slowly remove the hands and come all the way back down. And now we're making our way into our final resting pose of Shavasana. So laying down flat on your back, extending the legs long. Slide the heels about mat width apart and just let the feet fall open. Arms lay beside you, turning the palms to face up. And slide the shoulder blades together, creating an altar for your heart. Close the eyes. Take a deep inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale. And one more time, inhale. And exhale. Now just allowing yourself to fully let go. Letting go of all effort, all doing. Allow each breath to sink you deeper and deeper into your mat. Give yourself permission to completely let go. Dropping into that silent spaciousness of being. And I'm going to play a little Alan Watts for you. So listen, breathe, and let go.
If you awaken from this illusion and you understand that black implies white, self implies other, life implies death, or shall I say, death implies life, you can feel yourself not as a stranger in the world, not as something here on probation, not as something that has arrived here by fluke, but you can begin to feel your own existence as absolutely fundamental. What you are basically, deep, deep down, far, far in, is simply the fabric and structure of existence itself. So, say in Hindu mythology, they say that the world is the drama of God. God is not something in Hindu mythology with a white beard that sits on a throne and that has royal prerogatives. God in Indian mythology is the self, Satchidananda, which means Sat, that which is, Chit, that which is consciousness, that which is Ananda is bliss. And in other words, what exists, reality itself, is gorgeous. It is the plenum, the fullness of total joy. Wowee! And all those stars, if you look out in the sky, as a firework display like you see on the 4th of July, which is a great occasion for celebration. The universe is a celebration. It is a fireworks show to celebrate that existence is. Wowee. And then they say, but however, there's no point just in sustaining bliss. Let's suppose that you were able every night to dream any dream you wanted to dream. And that you could, for example, have the power within one night to dream 75 years of time, or any length of time you wanted to have. And you would naturally, as you began on this adventure of dreams, you would fulfill all your wishes. You would have every kind of pleasure you could conceive. And after several nights of 75 years of total pleasure each, you would say, well, that was pretty great. But now let's have a surprise. Let's have a dream which isn't under control. Well, something is going to happen to me that I don't know what it's going to be. And you would dig that and come out of that and say, wow, that was a close shave, wasn't it? And then you would get more and more adventurous, and you would make further and further out gambles as to what you would dream. And finally, you would dream where you are now. You would dream the dream of living the life that you are actually living today. That would be within the infinite multiplicity of choices you would have, of playing that you weren't God. Because the whole nature of the Godhead, according to this idea, is to play that he's not. The first thing he says to himself is, man, get lost. Because he gives himself away. The nature of love is self-abandonment, not clinging to oneself, throwing yourself out, as in, for example, in basketball, you're always getting rid of the ball. You say to the other fellow, have a ball, see? And that keeps things moving. That's the nature of life. So in this idea then, everybody is fundamentally the ultimate reality. Not God in a politically kingly sense, but God in the sense of being the self, the deep down basic whatever there is. And you're all that, only you're pretending you're not.
Now slowly start to bring awareness back into the body, deepening the breath, bringing gentle movement of fingers and toes. Take a deep inhale as you sweep the arms up overhead, getting a nice full body stretch, reaching from toes to fingertips. And then exhale to roll over to one side, curling up, using your arm as a pillow for your head, closing the eyes. Taking a few full breaths here. Taking a moment to hold a sense of peace, contentment, and gratitude for yourself, for showing up. Taking that time for self-care and self-love, knowing that you are worth it. Now slowly press yourself up to a comfortable seat, crossing the legs and closing the eyes. Let's bring the palms to meet at heart center. We'll close with one resonant sound of Om, starting with a deep breath in. And thank you all so much for joining me for your practice today. Namaste.